Imagine for a moment that even the darkest beings, those who have committed unimaginable acts, suddenly realized their mistakes. What if they sought forgiveness? This isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's a moment that has actually happened in the spiritual realms. Demons, known for their rebellion and defiance against God, found themselves in a situation where they were desperate enough to ask for mercy. You might wonder, why would such beings, known for their evil, seek forgiveness? What could drive them to do so? The answer lies in the unimaginable consequences they were facing, consequences that not even the most hardened beings could bear. They realized that the path they had chosen was leading them to a fate far worse than they had ever anticipated. And so, in their darkest hour, they turned to the one being who they knew could change their destiny, God. But what happened next was something no one could have predicted. The response they received from God was not only unexpected, but it also carried with it a profound message about the nature of mercy, justice, and redemption. This is the story of what happened when the demons asked God for forgiveness, and the shocking answer they received. The stakes in this story are incredibly high, not just for the demons, but for our understanding of divine justice and mercy. You see, if God's response wasn't what you might expect, it forces us to reconsider everything we think we know about these concepts. What does it mean for a being as powerful and as righteous as God to be faced with a request for forgiveness from those who have caused so much suffering? The demons were not just any beings, they were the ones who had chosen to rebel against the very foundation of goodness, truth, and light. Their actions had caused untold pain and darkness, spreading fear and chaos throughout the spiritual and physical realms. If God were to grant them mercy, what would that say about the nature of justice? Would it mean that all actions, no matter how evil, could be forgiven? Or would it mean that mercy has limits, even when it comes to the most powerful being in existence? On the other hand, if God denied them forgiveness, what would that say about the nature of mercy? Would it suggest that some beings are beyond redemption, that there is a line that, once crossed, cannot be uncrossed? These are the questions that make this story so compelling, and the answers hold implications that could change your entire perspective on what it means to be just, merciful, and ultimately, what it means to be divine. To truly understand the magnitude of this event, we need to delve into the minds of the demons. What could have driven them to seek forgiveness after all the harm they had caused? The truth is, even the most malevolent beings in existence can reach a point where they realize that the path they have chosen is leading them to a place of no return. The demons, who had once reveled in their defiance of God, began to see the consequences of their actions unfold before them. Their rebellion had led them down a path of destruction, not just for others, but for themselves. They were facing eternal separation from the light of God, a darkness so profound that even they, in all their wickedness, could not bear it. It was in this moment of realization that they understood the gravity of their situation. They had been cast out, rejected, and condemned to a fate they could no longer escape. In their desperation, they turned to the one being who had the power to change their destiny. They sought forgiveness from God, hoping that His mercy would be greater than His justice. But this was not just a simple request, it was a plea that came with the full weight of their sins. They knew that asking for forgiveness would not erase what they had done, but they hoped that it might offer them a chance to avoid the worst of their punishment. The demons, who had once stood in the presence of God and chosen to rebel, were now on their knees, begging for the very thing they had once scorned, mercy. And as they awaited God's response, the tension was palpable, for they knew that the answer they received would determine their fate for all eternity. As the demons awaited their fate, the question of divine justice loomed large. What does it mean for God, the ultimate arbiter of justice, to be confronted with a plea for forgiveness from beings so deeply entrenched in sin? To understand this, we must first explore the nature of divine justice itself. Unlike human justice, which is often influenced by emotions, biases, and limitations, divine justice is absolute and perfect. It is not swayed by pleas or bargaining, nor is it blind to the truth. God's justice is rooted in the very fabric of creation, maintaining the balance between good and evil, light and darkness. When the demons made their plea, they were not just asking for forgiveness, they were asking God to reconsider the fundamental laws that govern the universe. These laws dictate that every action has a consequence, and for beings who had chosen to oppose the divine order, those consequences were severe. The demons knew this well, yet they dared to hope that God's mercy might somehow override his justice. But can justice truly be served if the most egregious sins are simply forgiven? Would it not undermine the very concept of justice to allow those who have committed such great evils to escape their deserved punishment? In this context, divine justice is not about vengeance or retribution, it is about restoring balance. The demons' actions had caused a profound imbalance in the spiritual realm, and justice demanded that this imbalance be corrected. God, in his infinite wisdom, understood that true justice must account for both the deeds and the intent behind them. The demons had acted with full knowledge of the consequences of their rebellion, and now they were facing the inevitable outcome of those choices. Yet, even as justice demanded their punishment, the possibility of mercy remained. It is this delicate balance between justice and mercy that makes God's response so profound and so difficult to predict. When God finally responded to the demon's plea, the answer was nothing short of shocking. It was an answer that revealed the true nature of divine mercy, one that transcends human understanding. God did not respond with anger or rejection, nor did he immediately grant the forgiveness they sought. Instead, his response was a reflection of both his justice and his mercy, perfectly balanced in a way that only a divine being could achieve. God acknowledged the demon's plea, recognizing the sincerity in their request for forgiveness. But he also made it clear that forgiveness could not simply erase the consequences of their actions. The demons had chosen their path with full awareness of the potential outcomes, and those choices had led them to where they were now. God's mercy was available to them, but it required something from them that they had never been willing to give before: true repentance and a complete renunciation of their past ways. This was the shocking twist that the demons had not anticipated. They had hoped that God's mercy would be enough to spare them from their fate, but they had not considered the price they would have to pay to receive that mercy. True repentance meant more than just asking for forgiveness, it meant a total transformation of their being, a rejection of the very nature that had led them to rebel in the first place. This was no small demand, and it was one that would require immense courage and humility from beings who had spent their existence in defiance of God. The demons were left with a choice: continue on the path they had chosen, knowing it would lead to their ultimate destruction, or embrace the path of repentance, which, while offering the possibility of mercy, also demanded a sacrifice they were not sure they could make. God's response was a test of their sincerity, a challenge to prove that their plea for forgiveness was not just an attempt to escape punishment, but a genuine desire to change. In this moment, the true nature of divine mercy was revealed, not as a free pass for wrongdoing, but as an opportunity for redemption that required a deep and personal transformation. As the demons grappled with the choice before them, the implications of God's response began to sink in. They were faced with the stark reality that their fate was not just a matter of divine decree, but something that hinged on their own actions and decisions moving forward. This was a profound revelation for beings who had long believed that their destiny was sealed by their rebellion. Now, they were being offered a way out, but it came at a cost that many of them were unprepared to pay. God's response made it clear that while mercy was available, it was not guaranteed. The demons had to earn it by demonstrating a genuine commitment to change. This meant not only abandoning their previous ways, but also accepting the consequences of their actions, both past and present. They would have to atone for the pain and suffering they had caused, and this would not be an easy or painless process. For many demons, this realization was overwhelming. The prospect of true repentance, with all that it entailed, was daunting. They had spent eons immersed in darkness, and the idea of stepping into the light, of becoming something entirely different from what they had been, was terrifying. Yet, for others, God's offer represented a glimmer of hope, a chance to escape the eternal damnation that awaited them. These demons saw in God's response not just a challenge, but an opportunity for redemption. They understood that the path ahead would be difficult, but they also recognized that it was the only way to avoid the worst of the consequences they had brought upon themselves. The choice they faced was clear: embrace the painful process of repentance and transformation, or continue on the path of destruction, knowing that there would be no more chances. This interaction between God and the demons offers profound insights into the nature of redemption in spirituality. Redemption, as revealed through this story, is not something that can be easily obtained. It requires a deep, personal commitment to change. It's a process that involves not just asking for forgiveness, but also taking responsibility for one's actions and making amends wherever possible. This is a concept that resonates deeply with many spiritual traditions, where redemption is seen as a journey rather than a one-time event. For the demons, the journey toward redemption would be long and arduous. It would require them to confront their darkest impulses, to face the pain they had inflicted on others, and to rebuild their lives from the ground up. This is a process that demands humility, patience, and a willingness to endure suffering for the sake of spiritual growth. In this sense, redemption is not just about being forgiven, it's about being transformed. It's about moving from a state of darkness to one of light, from rebellion to obedience, and from hatred to love. God's response to the demons illustrates that redemption is always possible, but it is not always easy. It's a path that requires sacrifice and perseverance, but it's also a path that leads to profound spiritual fulfillment. For those demons who chose to embrace this path, the promise of redemption was not just a way to escape punishment, but a chance to become something greater than they had ever imagined. It was an opportunity to align themselves with the divine will, to participate in the unfolding of God's plan, and to find a place in the light once more. The story of the demon's plea for forgiveness and God's response carries important lessons for humanity. Just as the demons were offered a path to redemption, so too are we, in our own lives, offered opportunities to seek forgiveness and change our ways. This story reminds us that no matter how far we have strayed, no matter how deeply we have fallen, there is always a way back. But it also reminds us that this way back is not without its challenges. Forgiveness, both divine and human, requires more than just words. It requires action. It requires us to confront our past, to take responsibility for our mistakes, and to make amends wherever possible. It requires us to undergo a process of transformation, to become better, more compassionate, more just. This is a difficult path, but it is one that leads to true peace and fulfillment. The story also teaches us about the nature of mercy. Mercy is not about ignoring wrongdoing or letting people off the hook. It's about offering people a second chance, a chance to learn from their mistakes and to become better. But this second chance comes with conditions. It requires a sincere commitment to change, a willingness to do the hard work of redemption. In this way, mercy is both a gift and a responsibility. It is a gift because it offers us a way out of the darkness, and it is a responsibility because it demands that we take that way seriously. This story also challenges some common misconceptions about mercy and justice. Many people believe that mercy is about being lenient, about overlooking faults and letting people get away with things. But the story of the demon's plea shows us that mercy is far more complex. True mercy does not ignore wrongdoing, it acknowledges it fully and seeks to correct it. It is not about letting people off the hook, it is about helping them to take responsibility for their actions and to make amends. Mercy is also not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it requires great strength to show mercy, especially in the face of grave wrongdoing. It requires the strength to forgive, the strength to offer a second chance, and the strength to guide someone through the difficult process of redemption. Mercy is not about being soft, it is about being just and compassionate at the same time. It is about balancing the need for justice with the desire for healing and reconciliation. God's response to the demons illustrates this perfectly. He did not simply forgive them and let them go on their way. He offered them a chance to redeem themselves, but he made it clear that this would require a complete transformation of their being. This is the essence of true mercy, offering a way out, but only if the person is willing to do the hard work required to change. The story of the demon's plea for forgiveness and the shocking response they received from God is a powerful reminder of the complexities of mercy, justice, and redemption. It challenges us to think deeply about these concepts, to move beyond simple ideas of forgiveness and punishment, and to embrace a more nuanced understanding of what it means to be just and merciful. For the demons, the choice was clear: continue on their path of destruction or embrace the difficult journey of redemption. For us, the choice is often the same. We are all offered opportunities to seek forgiveness, to make amends, and to change our ways. But like the demons, we must be willing to do the hard work required to truly transform ourselves. God's response in this story is a testament to the power of divine mercy, a mercy that is available to all, but that requires a sincere commitment to change. It is a mercy that is both a gift and a responsibility, one that challenges us to become better, more compassionate, and more just. As we reflect on this story, let us remember that mercy is not about being lenient or soft. It is about offering people the chance to redeem themselves and guiding them through the process of transformation that makes true redemption possible. In the end, the choice is ours to make. Will we choose the path of repentance and redemption, or will we continue on the path of darkness and destruction? The answer, as always, lies within us.